Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Jesse Bollinger and I want to welcome you to this presentation, Working from Home in the Digital Age. This recording is based on a presentation that I gave on January 15th as part of my AmeriCorps VISTA service and our Martin Luther King Day of Service requirement. The presentation was originally given at the Lamoni Public Library. We found after the presentation that the live stream had not worked, so I wanted to definitely come back, re-record the presentation, and additionally add some information based on questions and comments that were provided at the original presentation. So, I am an AmeriCorps VISTA member with the Decatur County Development Corporation, and let's get started here. So a little bit about me. I did receive my bachelor's degree from Graceland University in Communications back in 2007, and then moved to a Master's of Nonprofit Management program at Regis University through their online program. As some may know, Regis is headquartered with the main campus in Denver, Colorado. I then received my PhD in Public Service Leadership with a concentration in Nonprofit Organization Management in 2014. And so I'm very thankful to have some great educational experiences and a lot of things that I can draw from during my AmeriCorps service. In terms of my career, I've spent 10 years in the nonprofit sector. This is encompassing education, work, volunteer experience, some publishing, and various other elements. Spent 9 years in the real estate industry as a technology coordinator and webmaster, as well as salesperson, and 2 years in higher education as a program consultant and an office manager. Additionally, nearly 3 years experience working from home in various settings, and those are the experiences that I want to share with you today. So, the first thing I want to talk about is things to avoid when you're thinking about working from home. I feel like this is a little easier today than it maybe was even 2 or 3 years ago. But if you cannot tell up front what type of work you'll be doing, definitely something to avoid. I've seen lots of websites, flashy ads, great big text, multicolored text, proclaiming essentially that you can work from home, make your own schedule, and make all sorts of money. And a lot of these situations also ask you to pay up front, $29.95, $39.95, maybe more, to get information and to get started. The last thing is if the earning potential seems unreasonable, $3,000 a month from home, $500 a day from home, are all things that I would avoid. Essentially, use your judgment. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. All right, so there's different options for working from home. Traditional employment and also contracted employment, either by starting your own business or contracting with a corporation of some sort. And I'll walk through some of these as we talk about various options. There's various types of work that can happen from home. These include sales, customer service, different options in the medical field. These might include transcription or nursing, even insurance, as well as technical support. So as we talk today, and the companies that I'm going to talk about, the ones that I've interacted with personally have either been from the sales side or customer service, but there are many different options that exist with these. So let's talk about traditional employment here. So just like with a brick and mortar job, you're going to most likely have a set schedule. You're going to have a similar pay structure as a face-to-face job, and benefits may be available. Some examples of these are going to be Apple Computer. Apple offers this in some cases with their Apple Care division, and I've seen some other positions from Apple, a couple that have been a little less technical actually. Amazon.com, and the thing about Amazon is a lot of their positions require that you live in a certain state or a certain region. And so you want to be very careful as you look for these. West at home. I've also seen this with West where they want you to be in a certain region. Uh, West is a pretty neat organization. They essentially have you interview and then place you with a client that you then train with and work for full time. Essentially, in some ways, it may feel like working for an employment agency, but you do work for West. 1-800-Flowers, similar situation. Other examples, like I said, kind of depend on the industry and what you're looking for. So I'll mention this at the end too as well. If you want to get into working from home for a traditional employer, a couple things you want to think about are identifying the companies you want to work for, going to their job sites, and using keywords like remote or work at home or telecommute, and see what's available. The other thing is ask people that work for companies you're interested in if these options exist. And as with any work at home position, whether it be an employment situation or a contract, networking with people that work from home can be very beneficial as well. Okay, so contract as an individual or a business. This type of scenario is going to may offer you some additional flexibility, the ability to make your own schedule. It may or may not require the formation of a partnership with a corporation or the formation of your own corporation, a subchapter S, an LLC, or a C corporation. Some companies require that. The companies that do not require it, in a lot of cases, from my experience, will still let you register a business or register yourself as a business. Lastly, they may require you to purchase and maintain your own equipment. If you're an independent contractor, more than likely this is going to happen. Now, the exception to that would be some clients that I'm familiar with that have what they might call an ASD, an assistive computer device, or a computer device that does different functions, and so they would in some cases send those to you. So those are things that you'll be made aware of as you learn about various client opportunities. All right, so if you contract as an individual business, you're going to look at extensive training that may be required of you, and that's going to be often at your own cost. The training is not always paid. Some clients do offer a earn as you learn potential. This is going to be found in the call center environment, especially in a sales or a technical support type of contract where you might have a couple of weeks where you're taking live calls that are being monitored and you're getting feedback while you're being paid for that time. And these types of contracts allow for great flexibility and really have earning potential that is, I won't say unlimited, but it's earning potential that is adjustable. And so the more you work, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. Okay, so examples of these are going to be Arise Virtual Solutions. Arise is going to have both the customer service and the sales pieces. Arise clients can range from technology companies, travel companies, office supply companies, things of that nature. And the client availability really can depend. And so registration is a good place to start and then see what's out there. Live Ops. Live Ops is a pretty cool organization. So they work with as seen on TV products, but they also have positions for insurance agents or people in the healthcare industry in a couple of senses. My experience with live ops has been on what they call the general line. The general line is a situation where you're looking at as seen on TV or people calling to request information. Uh, and if you're interested in that, check out their website to learn about their pay structure and some availability. Alorica, um, they're going to have projects that are available that you can be a part of. As with Arise and Live Ops, technical requirements can vary. The requirements of the contract can vary. So visiting their website's a good place to start to learn about that. And Great Virtual Works is the last of the four that I'll mention. There are several other companies out there that do these types of things, and for a complete list, uh, use one of the resources that I'll mention on the last slide, and also be mindful of what to avoid if you choose to do a Google search. Okay, and the last one I'll mention, actually there's a fifth one in here, is Fiverr. Now Fiverr is $5 per job is where they kind of get their name from, and it could be anything from writing to research, that kind of thing, and you're going to get paid a percentage of that $5 per test. So not something that I would bet your entire earning potential on, but a good way to have some supplement. All right, so when you work from home, being effective is really important. And there's several ways to do this. I could do an entire presentation on working at home and being effective, but just to give a real quick overview, you're going to want a quiet work area. I like to have a door on my work area just so if there are other people in the house, or if your office is maybe near a family room or a kitchen or that kind of thing, that you can maybe have a little bit of a noise barrier. When you're working from home, ignore household distractions. If you take your break, take your lunch, don't go do laundry, don't do the dishes, that kind of thing. Act like you were at work. Family and friends need to respect your schedule and that you are at work. And so having a general conversation with your family about your needs and your expectations and the expectations of either the company you work for or the company you're contracted for, I find to be really necessary and effective. Dress like you're at work. You know, it's been proven that when you're dressed professionally, you act differently. So to be in khakis and a polo shirt, or to be in jeans and a polo shirt, you're going to feel differently emotionally, and so that's going to affect your approach to the work and therefore your quality. Okay, so manage your time. When you're at home, it's easy to think, well, I just need to walk downstairs and I can log in. But it's important to remember there's other things that go on. You know, you might have kids to get off to school. You might have young children that are at home during the day while a spouse watches them. You know, many different situations. And so if you need to be logged in at 8 o'clock at 7:40, head to your office. Make that your commute, and make your commute, if you will, tailored to your needs. So your commute might be getting your final cup of coffee, making sure, getting downstairs to your desk, making sure your desk is cleared, reviewing any material that you might need for your shift, making sure your cell phone's silenced, things of that nature. Keep your work area organized. You're at home, and so chances are your desk and your workspace are being used for other things. So move that personal clutter and make sure that your work items are accessible and that they're current. Regularly ensure that your technology is working. Run your virus scan, run your software update, And if you need to fix something, repair something, definitely do that outside of work hours so you do not affect your earning potential or your quality of work. So I was asked after the presentation yesterday about technology, and I could have several presentations actually on the topic of technology and working from home. So just a couple of bullet points here to think about. So positions are available for PC and Mac. Now, I want to be really clear here that for Mac users, if you see that you need a PC, don't just assume that you can go into boot camp and install whatever version of Windows they want and that it's going to work. These client systems are very sophisticated in a lot of cases, and so there's still a chance it may not work. But there are PC and Mac, or there are Mac positions out there. Obviously, if you work for Apple, you're going to have some Mac compatibility. And in that case, Apple actually used to send out computers. I don't know if they still do. Some companies send you equipment, some don't. So be very careful with the computer requirements. Requirements are going to differ from company to company. Some are going to require a traditional telephone line, what we call a POTS line, a plain old telephone line, or plain old telephone service, excuse me. Some you can use a cable line. I've seen some, very few, that you can use a voice over IP like Vonage. Other providers, other clients, you can use a regular voice over IP where it's just your internet connection and a USB headset. Some clients require dual monitors. Some clients require monitors of certain sizes. So it's really important, and I say client, but the same can be applied to traditional employment as well. So be really careful as you read those requirements. And reading all materials. So I talked about reading all the requirements, but reading all the materials is really important too in terms of any other non-technical requirements like drug testing, background checks. I've seen some cases where you have to submit copies of your driver's license just to verify who you really are, not even really from a tax standpoint, just from more of a personal verification standpoint. And most importantly, if you have questions, if you're unsure on something, ask. Can't emphasize that enough. So we're here to talk about employment, and I think we've covered a lot of ground. But with my background being primarily in volunteer management and the nonprofit sector, I wanted to talk briefly about virtual volunteering, because if you're working from home, you have some skills that allow you to volunteer virtually, but if you have traditional employment outside of the home and want to volunteer, virtual volunteering can be a great way to do it. So looking for positions on volunteermatch.com is a great place to start. You can search specifically for virtual positions, and there's a wide range of positions out there for a wide range of skill sets. When you are volunteering, act like you're at a traditional site. Be professional, act professional, and interact with whatever stakeholders you're working with as you normally would. Virtual volunteers are going to utilize your own technology and resources to complete your tasks. So if you're a graphic designer, make sure that if somebody wants graphic design software, make sure you have what they want. Don't just say, hey, I want to be a virtual volunteer and here's a graphic design position, so I'm going to go buy Photoshop and learn it. They're looking for the same quality as if they had an in-house volunteer or as if they hired somebody. And I guess another good point that I want to make is if you are a professional, if you work in a home-based call center environment, doing customer service or sales, or if you are an insurance agent that works from home, look for volunteer positions in organizations that have needs and are maybe looking for some pro bono work for professional services. All right, so I want to make sure you guys are able to learn a little bit more, and the first way to do that is you can find a link to these slides they're in SlideShare. The original presentation's there as well, and this one will be there once we're done too. And so there's that link will be in the comments. The American Home Agent Association can help. They're a nonprofit. They help people find legitimate work at home positions. And finally, as an AmeriCorps VISTA, I want to make sure that I'm providing service to folks on a variety of levels, not just the projects that I'm working on, uh, but things that are in some ways tied to what I'm working with. And since one of my projects does deal with education and talking to kids about careers, uh, and also financial literacy and improving people's financial situations, I want to make myself a resource. So my contact information is there as well. Feel free to send me an email. Now this is my email address through my business that I have, but I will be open for questions via email as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. I've greatly enjoyed my year my time as an AmeriCorps VISTA. I'm about halfway through my service, and I look forward to answering any questions via email or maybe even in the comments on YouTube. So thank you so much and have a great day.